Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm so glad you are here with me this evening. Hello. For those of you that don't know me, I am your girl, author Pamela Garrison, or author Pamela G. Pamela G, also known as your bubble therapist in this community. So, welcome to another round of Bubble Talk Live. This is where I get to just use my wheelhouse of wisdom and build bubbles for life. I just love that. I just love that. So thank you guys for joining me. I entitled this one tonight, 3 tips to activate radiating joy. Who is suffering right now? You're having a problem getting a control of your happiness, your joy. You kind of like going in and out, or you feel some kind of like, what's really going on? So if you're feeling, a little sadness, a little depression, or just a little jittery, it doesn't even have to be depressing. So just a little jittery or uneasy, unsettled kind of in your spirit. If you're feeling any of those things, this is for you, So I just, again, I just enjoy, spreading just some good news and good words and giving words of encouragement so that we can all just overcome a lot of the things that are happening, especially in this pandemic, especially now. So I want to say hello and welcome to all of my people in the Bubbles for Life, my Facebook group. And I'm saying hello to all of my people that's on the Pamela Garrison business page and all of my people that's joining me from YouTube. So hello to everyone in this community. Normally when someone joins Bubble for Life, I have a name for you. I call you Bubble Therapians because we started this group as Bubble Therapy, and then everybody who was participating became Bubble Therapians. I had to say it fast because I couldn't always pronounce it, but it looked real good on paper. It looked real good on paper. So because of that, I said, oh, we're going to flow with that. So we do have a bubble language that we develop in this community. We do bubble blast when we want to celebrate and we want to shout people out. It's a bubble blast when we're celebrating. So I love things like that. And I said, as we continue to grow, then we'll continue to create new words and new culture in this space. So if you are part of Bubbles for Life, thank you for your continued support. If you would like to become a member of this group, just send a shout out and we'll gladly allow you to come in as just a few questions to answer, that type of thing. And, so because we're a growing community, growing business, and we just like to do things, especially, that didn't come out. There it is. Because I was like, I know I'm feeling pretty good right now. So what is going on? So just to make sure I'm right for the night, I like to sometimes just pull out the bubbles and let you know that I do use my own product and I do practice what I preach. I'm just saying, just so you know. So for those of you that may be new to this environment, when you're wondering what is Bubbles for Life, what is bubble therapy, and what is it with all these bubbles in the atmosphere? Well, for you, I can say I wrote this little book, and it's called Identity Crisis Rediscover You. I wrote that little book, and then people had questions. I said something in that book about I blow bubbles. And I blow bubbles to relieve stress in my life. It's one of those things that I did to help me get back to my center. It's one of those things that I did in order to get rid of toxic emotions and feelings and anger. And there's a whole nother story wrapped around that I'm not going to go into tonight. But it started from that little book. And because people wanted more information, I wrote a second book. And that one is called Bubble Solutions. So really all the details of what it is and how it came to be is all wrapped up in that second book. You can find either one of those on Amazon, or you can private message me for an autographed copy. I'll let you know how that goes, that type of thing, because I don't, um, I can send you a link. If that's something that you're interested in, no pressure. But I'm just letting you know, this is how it came to be. This is what the background is. And through that, I am building some amazing connections with different people. So many doors and avenues that have been opened up to me, of which I'm very excited about. And from it all, we're building a business. So the name of my business is BuBBles for Life. I do have a BuBBles for Life Academy. This is where I take my wheelhouse of wisdom and I put it into programs, or small programs, so that if it's something that I've said that you're interested in, or a topic that you want to know more about, then you can find that in my BuBBles for Life, because it's an ongoing developing type of community. So that's bubblesforlife.com. And also, as we're growing, I love to come on and do the BuBBle Talk Lives, because it gives me that avenue to just come on and talk to people, see where your head is at, see some things that, things that you may want to talk about or want me to speak on. So feel free to put those things in the chat. If there's questions that you have, if there's some things that you want to know more about, just type it in chat. I do look at those things. Now, I am streaming live from StreamYard. I don't always see the comments right away. However, if you give permission, it will show me your name and what have you. And then I can respond while we're in the midst of this. But if not, then I always go back over my lives and look at the comments and interact, because I believe in interaction. I believe in conversation. So definitely let me know you're here. Let me know where you're checking in from. Say hi, say hello. Don't just be peeping in the window. Don't just be stalking up in here. Introduce yourself. Say hi, say hello. Say, hey, I see you, girl. I was here. So that would be very, wonderful, because I always like to know who I'm talking to. So don't just be a lurker. Say hello, say hello. So without further ado, let me just pause right there. So let's get into 3 tips to activate radiating joy. Radiating joy. So, when I thought about this topic, I was always reminded of a time. There was a time and a space in my life when I cried a lot. I was sad. I was troubled. Life was happening and I was just crying and crying. And like everything that happened, I would just be in tears, and then I was the type of person, if I start crying, I'm not going to cry a couple of hours. I cry for days. And then I have that face that don't hide. It doesn't hide anything, right? So the whole world knows that I'm not happy, because it's pretty much what you see is what you get. I can't fake a smile. My persona, my body language, all of those things tell on me. What you see really is what you get. What you see is what you get. So when I'm not happy, the whole world knows I'm not happy, because it's going to show. It shows. It's one of those things. My voice tone may change. Definitely the whole way I view everything, it changes. It really does. So when I tell you these things, and especially if you're looking at me and you're following me and you're one of those people that go, oh my gosh, she's always happy. Oh my gosh, she's always so full of joy. I can tell you these things because I know where I used to be. I know what I did over the years, and I know how I got to this place. So if you're a person that go, she just don't understand because, life is happening and I'm going through this and I'm going through that, and that's all, that smiling is unnecessary. I done heard some of those things before. And again, I used to be in that place. Once upon a time in life, I was in that place. So I'm here to tell you today that your joy is not based on your circumstances. Your joy is not based on your situation. Your joy is not even based on your bank account, even though, some of us, we might attach it to that. Been there, done that. But your joy radiates from the inside out. Now, there was a time in my life, I'm telling you, I think there were certain people in my life that their sole mission or their sole purpose in that season was to make me miserable. It's like they had an agenda, and the sole purpose is like they had a checklist and they would just check it off to see how many different ways we can upset her today. How many different ways can we make her cry? How many different ways can we work on her last nerve? How many different ways can we get this done? And you know what I learned in the process is that a person cannot do to you what you don't allow them to do. You cannot control, this is a nugget for somebody. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can definitely control, wait for it, you can control how you respond. You can control how you respond to other people. There are people that may be in your life, and they will do things just to see your flesh rise. They will do things just to get your mouth going. They will do things just to make you upset, angry, those type of things. They will do things and you just fall for it. Hook, line, sinker. They done reeled you in. So you have to recognize the trap. You have to recognize. And so, see, strategic planning would be a good thing for you. Now, as a personal development strategist, this is one of the things that I like to teach about recognizing these devices. And so in this segment, these three tips to activate your radiating joy. So your first tip number one, you have to make a decision. So let me just say that. So it's tip number one. I wrote in my notes. Yeah, make a decision. So that's your first tip. And you're probably going, make a decision about what? What am I making a decision about? I'm going to elaborate. I promise you. Tip number one, make a decision. I want to get that on I'm a visual person. So if you're like me, so we're going to make a decision. So that's your first tip. And you're like, what decision am I making? So let's talk about that. So tip number one is make a decision. So to make, every step of change starts with a decision. Whatever you're getting ready to do, every step of change starts with a decision. Every step of change starts with a decision. Yep. So when you are getting ready to do something different, you have to make a decision. Every step of change starts with a decision. So when you make the decision, as I was saying earlier, there are certain people or certain things that present themselves in a way that is simply to take you off of your game, to get you into a place of being angry, a place of being frustrated, a place of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. So you have to make a decision that you're no longer going to allow this to affect you anymore. Because again, you can't change what people do, but you can change, make a decision to change the way you respond. Make a decision to change the way you respond to the things that you know is aggravating you. Make a decision to change the way you respond, because every step of change starts with a decision. So that's my tip number one. Tip number one is make that strong decision. Now, after you've made a decision, I need you now to make a strong commitment. Go ahead and make a commitment. Um, Make that commitment saying that, this is the decision I just made. And now I'm going to apply all of me, all of my energy, all of my thoughts, everything into doing the best that I can to the best of my ability. So that requires commitment. What does commitment look like? You're going to become consciously aware. You're going to become consciously aware, you know, um, consciously aware of the things that upset you. You're going to start to recognize it because, one, you've made the decision for change. So now you're going to make this commitment. You're going to make a commitment that you're going to do the best you can do. And you're going to look for resources. You're going to look for different ways in order to respond. See, that's all in a commitment. You're committed to finding ways in order to respond differently when you know that somebody is in your face and their whole thing is designed to upset your day. So you've made a decision that you're no longer going to allow this situation or these circumstances to mess with your joy. So you're going to make a commitment. And see, part of that commitment, I probably could have broke this into more tips because I can see that it's a lot of different nuggets that are coming out, but that's okay. We'll keep it at 3 tips, but understand as I expound on each one of them, it gives you a lot more information. So one of the things I'm reminded of that when I was going through that time in my life, when I was crying all the time, when someone would just do things and it would work my nerves and I was crying again and walking around sad and miserable and disappointed and going through all this barrage of emotions, I decided that I did step number 1. I decided I wanted some change. I got tired of crying. I don't know about you. I didn't have any more tears to shed. Do you ever been in a situation and you get tired of crying? So I made a decision that I was done wasting tears or wasting water or whatever you want to call it. I made a decision. And then I made a commitment to myself that I was no longer going to allow someone else to dictate what my emotional state was going to be. So this was the words. I always find some words to stand on. So this was the words that I stood on. I said, this was my confession. This was my affirmation, whatever you want to call it, whatever you need to call it. But this was the words that I stood on. And I repeated them several times a day, especially when things were coming at me. And I said these words: I won't give up my joy. I won't give up my joy. I didn't care what was coming at me. Even in the midst of my tears, I said these words: I won't give up my joy. I won't give up my joy. And I would say this every day, several times a day: I won't give up my joy. Even in the midst of the tears, I'd be angry and I can feel it. You know how you're angry, you can feel it coming. You can feel it coming. People like to say, oh, no, I just got mad. No, you can feel anger when it's coming. You can feel that negative stuff rolling up. You can feel it. You can feel it coming up like a wave. You can feel it. And I would say, I won't give up my joy. See, it's almost like being nauseous and you know you nauseous and you trying to hold it down, right? So that it don't come up and out. Well, these things take practice. So even in the midst of my tears, I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this affect my day. I won't give up my joy. I won't give up my joy. I don't care who said what. I don't care, what they trying to throw at me. Because have you ever been around people who looks like, especially when you're a person, you're happy, you're smiling, and the moment you're smiling and happy, here they come with their mess or they BS. You know what I mean. You know the words, fill it in. And they come in with their stuff. And it looks like the moment you are upset or the moment that you are crying or in tears or depressed now or mad as hell, they look like they get happy. They look like they get happy. So it looks like they feed off that negative energy, and then they're excited because their mission is accomplished. They have finally decided this is how I'm going to get to her, and now they done robbed you of your joy. And see, here's the other thing that I learned. See, no one can take that joy. We give it away. No one can take it. You might need to write that down. No one can take it. We give it away. So you have full control over your state of being. And we allow other people, other situations, and other circumstances to dictate whether or not we're going to be joyful. We allow that. And if you really want to blow somebody's mind, oh my God, smile in their face. When you get to that point, when it's an individual, like I said, it looks like their assignment is to just upset your day. Oh, please keep smiling. Please just keep smiling. Oh my goodness. It confuses the enemy. It kind of go, I know I just did this. And I know I just did that. I used to can just do this, and it would upset her day, and it would upset her whole disposition. She's still smiling. I don't understand why she's not crying. Well, the more you do this, the more you get stronger and you get stronger. The word says we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. So you're not ignorant of things that get you off track. You're not ignorant of your situations and your surroundings. And you know the things that are your triggers. You know the things that are being done in order to come to steal your joy. But it is your responsibility not to give up that joy. So I won't give up my joy. And then here's that third tip. Tip number 3. Tip number 3. So once you have made a decision that you're going to generate this change in your life, because every change starts with a decision. So you have made the decision. You're not going to give up. You done made the decision, and you're going to stand on some words. So that tip number 2, I was saying that you're going to make a strong commitment. And in that commitment, you're going to come up with a phrase or something that you're going to say. Like I said, mine was, I won't give up my joy. I'm not going to let these people get to me, And again, this could have been broken down into more tips because a lot of golden wheelhouse of wisdom nuggets have been dropped up in this short period of time. So the third tip I'm going to say to you is to celebrate. Celebrate. Celebrate all of your small wins. Celebrate all of your small wins. Celebrate it. And you're probably saying, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? Let me tell you. So, like I said, we know how sometimes people come at us. And so when you make that commitment to celebrate all of your small wins, for instance, like I told you, I used to cry. I used to cry a lot. And sometimes I'd cry for 2 and 3 days because I would take things to the heart. I took everything personal. I would take it to the heart. And I would be in that state for 2 and 3 days. I'm telling you. And so, but when I made a decision that I was no longer going to give other people power over my disposition and how I was going to feel, when I made that decision, so rather than 2 days, maybe I only cried for a day. You know, not where I needed to be, but I made progress. So you got to celebrate the wins. Why do you celebrate it? Because see, what we celebrate, we going to repeat. What we celebrate, we going to repeat. And we're trying to change a whole behavior here. We're trying to change a mindset. We're trying to do a whole transition on how we respond, when things are thrown at us. So once you've made up your mind that you're going to do this change, and once you get committed to this change, I won't give up my joy. I won't give up my joy. And then you're going to celebrate the wins. And so that's the same thing, because some things don't happen overnight. It's a process. It is a process to get where you need to be. But when you have that personal strategy in place, you may not get it overnight, but the more you apply it, the more you continue to do it, you're going to get stronger. You're going to get stronger and you're going to get stronger. It's like building a muscle. It's like building a muscle. When you first pick up the weights, you're going, oh my God, that's heavy. And as you keep doing the reps, it gets hard sometimes to hold the weight. But as you're doing those reps, and then before you know it, you're going to see that muscle develop. You're going to see, oh, that's all that is. Now you're going on higher weights and that kind of thing. So it's going to grow. It will grow in you where you get to the point to where you know that you know that you know that you know. Your joy then is not based on your circumstances. Your joy is not based on what other people are saying. Your joy is not based on how much you have in your bank account. Your joy is not based on, just a lot of different things that we think of. And so you just have to make a decision. And yes, life is going to happen, but happiness is a choice. Joy is a choice. You can choose to shift your mindset and stay in that attitude of joy, or you can choose to dwell in a negative place. It's still a choice, because we get in our modes to where I don't want to hear nothing right now. I don't want nobody to tell me nothing right now. I don't want to hear not one more little happy word. If one more little person come through here with all of this happy bouncy stuff, I don't know, I might just scream because I don't want to hear that. And people go through those modes, and that's okay, because you are entitled to have your feelings and your emotions. You just want to make sure that you don't stay in that place too long, that you don't want to dwell there, that you don't want to make that portion a permanent residence. So if you're in a space to where you want radiating joy, that's that joy that's going to come from the inside, and it radiates itself out regardless of the things that you may be going through, regardless of your situation or your circumstances, because you have now developed a mindset to not allow your situations, your circumstances, and other people and other people's drama to dictate your disposition on how you want to show up and how you want to live your life. So that's that. I hope it was a help to someone. Again, if you're joining in, say hello. If you're joining in and you're listening to this, say hello. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're saying, because see, I can have a full party with myself because but thank you for joining me. So this is Pamela Garrison once again, and I'm saying be blessed, don't stress, blow bubbles. And on this one, I'm going to say to you, don't give up your joy. Thank you again for joining me for another round of BuBBle Talk Live. I appreciate you. Thank you. I don't take any of this for granted. So I thank you for joining in. I thank you for tuning in. And until next time, we'll be back next week in the group Bubbles for Life, as well as on YouTube and on my page, Pamela Garrison. The replay will be available for you in just a moment. So please don't hesitate to share it if it's, some great tips to help you move forward in life in a better disposition. So until next time, be blessed, people. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.